Anime has come a long way, from the hand-drawn classics of the past to the high-octane, visually stunning spectacles of today. The industry has changed dramatically, but with change comes debate. Which era truly reigns supreme? Has anime evolved for the better, or has it lost some of its soul along the way? Today we're diving deep into the ultimate debate: old generation versus new generation anime. Old generation anime built its legacy on slow burn storytelling, long character development, and deep immersive world building. These were the anime that took their time, growing alongside the characters. If you grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Bleach, or even One Piece, you know the thrill of waiting for a massive fight payoff after episodes of build-up. You experience the pain of fillers, but also the reward of a fully fleshed out universe that made every moment feel earned. But what about new gen anime? It's faster, sleeker, and more cinematic than ever. The pacing has been changed, the animation quality has skyrocketed, and the studios are pushing the boundaries of what anime can be. Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, and Attack on Titan are redefining the genre with breathtaking choreography, deep psychological storytelling, and high-energy pacing that keeps viewers on the edge of their seats. This debate isn't about nostalgia versus innovation. It's about how anime storytelling, animation, and character development have evolved. Old generation anime gave us legendary rivalries that spanned decades, heroes who trained for years before reaching their peak, and worlds that felt lived in and rich with history. New gen anime delivers immediate action, complex protagonists, and some of the best animation that we've ever seen. So which era does it better? Let's find out. First, let's define the battlefield. The anime landscape has changed drastically over the decades, but at its core, the heart of storytelling, action, and character development remains. What differentiates old generation from new generation isn't just the timeline. It's the approach of world building, animation, pacing, and audience expectation. Old generation anime includes legendary series like Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Cowboy Bebop, and Evangelion. These shows weren't just entertainment, they were cultural phenomena that shaped anime's worldwide appeal. Back then, anime was less accessible. Many people caught episodes out of order on television or relied on bootleg DVDs. Despite this, their impact was immense. Dragon Ball Z defined the shonen battle formula, Evangelion revolutionized mecha storytelling with psychological depth, and Cowboy Bebop set the gold standard for anime storytelling with its jazz-infused narrative and episodic brilliance. These shows that relied heavily on long story form telling, deep character arcs, and unique animation styles that reflected the craftsmanship of the era. Fast forward to today, and we have new generation, Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, and Chainsaw Man and Attack on Titan. These series defined anime for the streaming era, a time where accessibility is at an all-time high. With platforms like Crunchyroll, Netflix, and Funimation, fans can watch new episodes almost instantly worldwide. But accessibility isn't the only change. The pacing of storytelling has shifted significantly. Old generation anime often stretched arcs across dozens, sometimes even hundreds of episodes, allowing for slow character growth and prolonged world building. New generation, however, values speed. Modern series for tighter arcs, cinematic fight sequences, and visually stunning animation that capture the audience's attention instantly. One of the biggest arguments in this debate is whether fast pacing is an improvement or loss of depth. In old gen anime, training arcs, build-ups to battles, and character backstories could take multiple episodes. This made the eventual payoffs all the more satisfying. New Gen, however, prioritizes spectacle. Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen deliver breathtaking battles in mere episodes, with fluid animation that was nearly impossible decades ago. Some argue that this means fewer breathtaking moments for characters, but others feel it makes anime more digestible for a global audience with shorter attention spans. Another notable difference is character archetypes. In old gen, Protagonists were often defined by relentless determination, such as Naruto, Goku, and Ichigo, characters who started weak but grew stronger through sheer willpower and mentorship. In contrast, new-gen heroes tend to have more psychological complexity, such as Eren Yeager, Yuji Itadori, and Tanjiro Kamado. Characters who deal with trauma, moral dilemma, and often question their own heroism. This shift has led to richer, more layered narratives where heroes don't just fight stronger enemies, they wrestle with their own identities. A key factor in this debate is the impact of modern technology on animation. Old gen, through rich in hand-drawn artistry, often struggled with consistency due to budget limitations and time constraints. New-gen animation powered by digital tools delivers cinematic quality sequences regularly. However, critics argue that some modern anime feel too reliant on flashy visuals and lack heart that traditional hand-drawn anime carried. So the question remains, which era does it best? The nostalgic, long-form storytelling of old gen superior to polished high-speed entertainment of new gen? Or is it just a reflection of changing times and audience preferences? Old generation anime took their time. World building was everything. Series like Naruto and One Piece didn't just tell a story, they created entire worlds rich with history, culture, and expensive lore. Every village in Naruto, every island in One Piece felt alive, packed with characters who had their own stories, ambitions, and struggles. The slower pacing allowed for deep connections. Fans didn't just watch characters grow, they grew alongside them. Dragon Ball Z was another example of long-form storytelling where the journey to power took seasons to unfold, creating a sense of true progression. One of the defining traits of old-gen anime was the commitment to long storytelling. A single arc in One Piece, like the Water 7 in a Slowy saga, spent dozens of episodes giving each character a chance to shine. Similarly, Naruto's Chunin exams and Sasuke's retrieval arc built tensions across multiple storylines, rewarding patience with unforgettable payoffs. These stories weren't designed to be consumed quickly. They were immersive, allowing fans to fully invest in the characters and their journeys. New Gen, on the other hand, focuses on efficiency and tighter narrative structure. Series like Chainsaw Man and Attack on Titan hit hard and fast, delivering high-stakes storytelling with little to no time wasted. These shows prioritized pacing over prolonged arcs, ensuring that every moment is packed with impact. Attack on Titan, for instance, masterfully weaves political intrigue, war, and character growth into a fast-moving narrative, keeping audiences on the edge of their seats. Chainsaw Man doesn't waste time with excessive exposition. It threw viewers straight into its chaotic world, relying on raw emotion and action to keep engagement high. This shift in pacing is primarily due to the modern anime industry's approach to content consumption. Streaming platforms have changed the way anime is produced and consumed. Unlike old gen, which relied on weekly TV schedules and often needed filler episodes to allow the manga to progress, new gen anime is more structured, with seasonal releases ensuring high-quality animation and storytelling without the need for excessive padding. However, is speed pacing better, or does it sacrifice long-term emotional depth? While modern anime thrives on instant engagement, some argue that the trade-off is a loss of deeper character investment. The slower approach of old gen meant that every character arc, every friendship, every relationship had time to breathe. Watching Naruto struggle for acceptance, Luffy's crew bond over countless adventures, and Gohan's growth in Dragon Ball Z felt real because we experienced every step of their journey. In contrast, new gen often skips prolonged development in favor of instant payoffs. Exciting, but does it leave a lasting emotional impact? Another key difference is the presence or absence of filler episodes. Old gen anime, especially long-running ones like Naruto and Bleach, were notorious for filler episodes, which some fans found them frustrating, while others appreciated the additional world building and character moments. One Piece, despite being a long-running series, managed to integrate filler episodes more smoothly with its canon, but it still took its time with storytelling. New gen anime largely avoids this issue by adapting manga arcs more faithfully and sticking to tighter seasonal structures. There's also the question of replay value. All Gen anime remain highly rewatchable despite their length because of their deep character investment and gradual story progression. One Piece, Naruto and Dragon Ball Z have remained cultural staples, with fans revisiting their favorite arcs years after they first aired. In contrast, New Gen anime, with its rapid pacing and streamlined narratives, often delivers high-impact moments but might not have the same long-term resonance. So which style do you prefer? Characters make the story, no matter how great the animation or how well crafted the fights are. It's the characters and their development that keep audiences invested. All Gen anime gave us legendary rivalries such as Goku and Vegeta and Naruto and Sasuke. These relationships were built over years, with layers of tension, respect and personal growth shaping their dynamics. Goku and Vegeta evolved from bitter enemies to reluctant allies and eventually close friends, but their rivalry always remained at the heart of Dragon Ball. Similarly, Naruto and Sasuke's relationship was the emotional core of Naruto, taking hundreds of episodes to develop and culminating in a deeply personal final battle. All Gen protagonists often followed a long-term progression arc. They started weak, facing hardships, training intensely, and eventually achieved their goals. Goku, Naruto, Ichigo, and Luffy all embody this slow-burn character growth, making their victories feel earned rather than given. These characters endured failures, unwavering training arcs, and relied on mentorship from seasoned warriors such as Master Roshi, Jiraiya, and Rayleigh to gradually reach their potential. New Gen, however, prioritizes faster character evolution to keep up with modern storytelling demands. Take Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan. He transformed from a hopeful protagonist into one of anime's most complex anti-heroes in a fraction of the time it took Naruto to reach the Hokage status. His character development is intense, unpredictable, and doesn't wait for years to build up. The same applied to Deku from My Hero Academia, who receives his power early on and is immediately thrown into high-stake battles. His growth is still significant, but the pacing is much faster compared to traditional shonen heroes. One major difference in New Gen storytelling is the increased focus on moral ambiguity and psychological depth. While all Gen protagonists often followed the never give up hero trope, modern protagonists are less idealistic and more complex. Thorfinn from Vinland Saga begins his journey motivated purely by revenge, only to later grapple with the consequences of violence and seek redemption. Denji from Chainsaw Man starts as a self-reviving, chaotic protagonist, but his development explores the harsh realities of life, trauma, and personal freedom. These types of character arcs resonate with modern audiences who prefer morally grey and deeply flawed protagonists over traditional black and white heroism. Rivalries have also changed. In old Gen anime, rivalries were the heart of character development. Vegeta vs Goku was a battle of pride and persistence. Sasuke vs Naruto was a story of friendship and redemption. Ichigo vs Byakuya was about proving one's worth. These rivalries were slow burning, stretching across dozens of episodes and evolving naturally over time. New Gen rivalries, however, often serve as a narrative device rather than a long-term arc. Yuji vs Sukuna in Jujutsu Kaisen is a rivalry based on control rather than personal animosity. Gojo vs Geto in the same series is built more on ideological conflict rather than a traditional power struggle. Eren vs the World in Attack on Titan is less about personal rivalry more than psychological warfare. While these modern rivalries are emotionally powerful, they don't always develop over the course of hundreds of episodes like old Gen rivalries did. Another key shift is the mentorship trope. All Gen anime relied heavily on legendary mentors, Jiraiya, Master Roshi, who shaped the protagonist through strict training and life lessons. These mentor-student relationships added depth to the character's journey. In contrast, New Gen animes often forego long mentorship arcs in favor of protagonists learning quickly on their own. While All Might serves as a mentor to Deku, the focus shifts to Deku's independence rather than prolonged mentorship. Gojo in Jujutsu Kaisen is an immediate powerful mentor, but rather than guiding Yuji step by step, he often lets him figure things out himself. With all these differences, the ultimate question remains, is faster character evolution better, or do we miss the slow burn arcs of old-gen anime? Anime used to be niche. If you were watching Dragon Ball Z in the 90s, you were part of a small, passionate community that had to go out of its way to access anime. Being an anime fan often meant being part of an underground movement where people shared tapes and debated series at conventions with fellow enthusiasts. Fast forward to today, anime is mainstream. What was once a subculture has become a global phenomenon, with series like Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen topping Netflix and Crunchyroll charts worldwide. Streaming services have revolutionized accessibility, allowing fans to watch anime simultaneously with Japan, eliminating the need for delayed releases or expensive DVD imports. But with popularity comes oversaturation. The anime industry now produces hundreds of series each year, many of which struggle to stand out in the flood of content. Unlike old gen, which had limited releases and gained notoriety over time, new gen anime faces intense competition where only the most visually stunning or hype-driven series get attention. Demon Slayer's Mugen Train became the highest-grossing anime movie of all time, proving how mainstream anime has become, but at what cost? A modern anime being tailored for maximum commercial appeal rather than genuine storytelling. Another key factor is social media's role in shaping fandom culture. In the past, anime communities existed in small forums, fan clubs, or conventional meetups. But today, discussions happen in real time on Twitter, Reddit, TikTok, and YouTube, where theories debated and memes can explode overnight. This has led to both positive and negative effects. Let's explore this. For example, on the positive side, this means greater engagement, global discussions, and an influx of new fans discovering anime. On the negative side, toxic fandoms, overhyped series, and the rise of anime gatekeeping, where fans argue over what constitutes real anime. Another major change is the rise of seasonal anime hype cycles. In the old-gen era, anime like Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece ran for years, creating dedicated fan bases that grew up with the series. Now, many shows run for 1 or 2 seasons before moving on, leading to rapid turnover of fandom interests. While this means constant fresh content, it also reduces long-term attachment to series. The question is, has anime lost some of its uniqueness by becoming too mainstream, or has it simply evolved to match modern entertainment consumption? Are modern anime overhyped due to their rapid speed of trends, or does the accessibility give deserving series a chance to shine? So what's the final verdict? Old gen had raw storytelling, legendary fights, and characters who grew with us over time. This series gave us expansive worlds filled with deep lore, slow burn character development, and emotional payoffs that took years to unfold. Whether it was watching Naruto evolve from an outcast to Hokage, Goku pushing past his limits, or Luffy's journey across the Grand Line, these stories made us feel like we were part of the adventure. On the other hand, new-gen anime is refined, visually breathtaking, and fast-paced. While the storytelling is more condensed, the pacing keeps viewers engaged all the time. Studios like MAPPA and Ufotable have revolutionized fight choreography, making battles in Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen some of the most fluid and visually stunning sequences anime has ever seen. While I personally prefer the old generation style of storytelling where the world is well explored, characters develop over time, and lore is rich, I can't deny that new generation anime has mastered the art of efficiency. The pacing is absolutely amazing and the animation quality is on another level. So what era is superior? Let me leave that up to you.